Well, Chanel Bleu De Chanel Parfum is finally out. This right here, look at this beautiful bottle. It's classy, gorgeous. But am I as excited about this now after smelling it for the first time as I was when I first found out about it back in December? I'm gonna tell you all about it coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. And yes, I found out about the Chanel Bleu De Chanel Parfum late December of last year. I was at a duty-free in London, Gatwick, and they have a Chanel boutique there with a Chanel fragrances. Every single Chanel fragrance you want is there, the exclusives and everything. And the associate there said, you know what, can you believe they have a new flanker to the Bleu De Chanel coming out very soon. She told me it would be coming out around January, and I'm like, okay, January? Is it going to be around the time I'm coming back through Gatwick to get back to the States? I came and went, it didn't come out. I was looking around, searching. I even did a video about it with my anticipation for this thing, and time came and time came. A lot of people got excited. People kept messaging me, what's the latest? What's the latest? Well, it's finally here. It was launched last week. And I have a bottle, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Not a lot of information exists. Fragrantica doesn't have any info. Parfumo.net does have info, but the fragrance was launched late last week. It's 2018, so I guess early May is when they launched it. It's created by Olivier Polge. He's the in-house perfumer at Chanel. It retails for a 100 ml bottle like this for $150. So it's a lot more expensive. And if you want to find out the comparisons of this particular version of Bleu De Chanel compared to the EDP versus the EDT, I have a link to the video I did with my anticipation for this fragrance below. You can click that and watch that as well. And it is Parfum concentration, so you have EDT, then you have EDP, and you have Extrait or Parfum, so it's pure perfume. So it's a stronger concentration of perfume oils here, and so on. So as far as notes go, on Chanel's website, it says Aromatic Freshness opens with Cedar and New Caledonian Sandalwood. On Parfumo.net, basically all they have listed is Cedar and New Caledonian Sandalwood. And as I said, it's not on Fragrantica's website. So the way Chanel does this was very kind of mysterious and kind of like building some kind of like demand. And actually people get excited, but there's nothing, they didn't release any press release for it or anything, because when they do such a thing, then, you know, Fragrantica would have all the information about it, but they don't have that information yet. But it is on Parfumo.net if you go want to find out more information about it. But there's not a lot of information listed there, so you might go there, just see the few notes and release date and the Perfumer and all that good stuff. Also, a couple of things. The previous versions of Bleu De Chanel had white writing. Now we have this kind of like tannish, brownish color text or writing on the bottle. And of course the logo, as you can see, is also kind of tannish color. So I guess they're focusing on the intensity of the fragrance because it is a more intense version, a lot more woodier. So I'm assuming the color scheme of the logo and the name is from the woodiness, and it's darker and all that kind of stuff. So that's also different compared to the other one. And I also find the bottle to be a lot classier. The bigger one, or the previous versions, seem a little clunkier. This one seems a little lighter. It seems thinner. Almost like a Gabrielle when that came out last year. That bottle is very, very thin, so if you like knock it on something, it's gonna break. This is a little heavier than that bottle. It is, after all, the masculine fragrance. They're gonna have kind of a more sturdier bottle, but that Chanel Gabrielle perfume bottle is very, very lightweight. But again, this is also lightweight compared to the EDT and EDP. Now, let's go on to the scent. So I was expecting something completely different from this version. I knew it's going to be Bleu De Chanel. I knew it was a freshie, and I didn't know what they would do different with a freshie. What can they, how can they like really intensify it? Well, they have intensified it here. It is definitely intensified, but if you're expecting a different scent, please don't expect a different scent, because the scent is pretty much the same. It is exactly as you know Bleu De Chanel, because when you have the EDT, the original, and then you go to the EDP, you definitely notice differences in the performances and the way the fragrance comes off. But as far as the smell goes, it's the same exact thing. Same here. Concentration's different. You do notice it is thicker, it is denser, it is heavier, and it is woodier. but overall it smells very similar to the EDP and the EDT. So you're not getting any kind of a different fragrance. It's the same fragrance. You'll notice the differences in the concentration on you and as you're wearing it. Now, I've only worn this twice, and I had to get my information out there to you guys because people have been asking me, have you got it? When's your review coming out? Did you find it? Did you check it out? Go buy it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I gotta get that information out. And with this one, you do need only a couple of wears to kind of like basically tell your information about it or my experience about it. Whereas yesterday's video when we did Guerlain's L'Homme Idéal L'Intense, that one the scent is completely different compared to the previous version, whereas here the scent is pretty much the same, so it's easier to talk about and you need less practice with it, if that makes sense. So the fragrance here, as I said, is very similar to the previous two versions, except this version is a lot classier to me because it doesn't project as much. It's not as loud. Now that doesn't mean it doesn't last longer or as long as the previous versions. I think this one does. But this is a lot more reserved, a lot more subdued. So on the skin, it's gonna smell classy, it's gonna be masculine. It's very, very classy. I think this is probably the classiest version, although I'm kind of leaning towards the EDP more versus this one. But this one actually comes off reserved or restrained. So if you want projection, this is not the one. If you want projection, I would highly recommend you go to the EDT. I'm sure you already have practice with the EDT. Test it out against the EDP because I find both the EDT and the EDP projecting a lot more than this one. And compared the EDT to the EDP, I prefer the EDP, as I said, even though I find this one a lot classier, a little more interesting to wear as far as the classiness goes, the reservedness goes. I prefer the EDP compared to this one. If I was to compare the EDP versus the pure Perfume or the Parfum version, or I guess I should also say the Extrait version. But some people might prefer this one. I think this one actually would be more suited for like more public settings where you are at work and things like that, because of that closer to the skin. It sits closer, it doesn't project as much compared to the EDP or even the EDT. So this might be a little more appropriate to wear at work, even though I find all three of them to be appropriate. Just this one, as I said, is a lot more reserved. But again, also when you compare the prices, this is $150 for 100 ml, and with the EDP, it's about $100, somewhere around that ballpark. I think it's maybe $110 for the 100 ml. So you're paying like $40 more for this. Price-wise, this is a lot more expensive because you're getting more concentration of oils. That's why the fragrances with the more oil concentration tend to be more expensive. But I think it's going to be basically down to your decision of which one you're going to go with. Right now this is rolling out very, very slowly. It took so long to bring it out. I mean, the anticipation was since January, so I don't know how long it's going to take for like let's say Macy's to pick this one up and start selling it. I know Macy's here has the EDT and the EDP, but some Macy's might take a lot longer to, I guess, sell. Although there might actually be some exclusivity with some of the stores as well, like Nordstrom might have an exclusivity. So it might be a little tougher to pick this one up compared to the others, but maybe buy some samples or decants to test them out if you have the previous two or if you have one of the two previous ones. But as overall, I like this. I just think I prefer the EDP more. It's a more bang for your buck, and plus that projection. And as I've been saying lately, the EDP gets me a lot of compliments. It is a crowd pleaser, and this one definitely will be a crowd pleaser as well. I think people are going to universally like this one, but they have to get closer to you to smell you compared to the EDP or even the EDT, because EDT compared to all three projects the most. But I prefer the EDP over the EDT, and of course I like this one a lot, but I think I'm falling to the EDP more. That's what I think. But overall, it's still a great scent. If this was the first time I was smelling this, I would think this was great if I had not smelled the EDT or the EDP. It's just gonna be a matter of taste and performance on you as to which one is going to be the right one for you, if that makes sense. You might like this be the first one you test and you go, okay, this is perfect, I really like it, I want to own it, and you might pick it up. But if you test it against all three and you go, okay, the other two project way too much, I want something, you know, a little closer to me, sits closer on the skin, I'll go with this one. But then you go, okay, I want more projection, I want it to be a little louder, I want people to notice me, then you might go to the EDT and the EDP. So that's my story on this. Nothing original. It is actually, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. It's kind of like a money-making thing. I don't know. I want to mention this. I've been thinking about it a lot. In the 80s, when I was growing up and I was really starting to be interested in fragrances, there usually were a lot of like different flankers to fragrances. Now it's just like milking machine. It's like flanker after flanker after flanker. I don't know. Maybe what's going on is all these restrictions, and I keep hearing the IFRA name come up, kind of is just some kind of a thing that they've created so that they can dilute down fragrances, and they have these like really wimpy EDTs for sale. Then they can make an EDP and, you know, crank those out and get more money from us. And then we're gonna go with the Extrait or the Parfum version or Parfum version. Then we're gonna have to be wanting that particular flanker as well. Just flanker after flanker after flanker. Where's the originality? Where are the new fragrances? I mean, we've already seen Bleu De Chanel. We've already got 2 versions. Now we have a 3rd. Are they gonna make a 4th? I don't know. I'm hoping Chanel will release something new for men going forward, because now we have 3 versions of BDC or Bleu De Chanel, and I think I'm getting tired of it. Even though I like the scent, don't get me wrong, I don't hate the scent, but I want something new. I want something interesting rather than just like redoing the original fragrance that they have and coming up with multiple different versions. I don't know about you guys, but if that's how you feel, let me know. Put it in the comments section. Let's get a conversation started. But otherwise, I like this. I don't hate it. It's just I think the EDP version is going to be a little better for me and a little more bang for my buck or your buck if you kind of test them out and see for yourself. But otherwise, it's a solid release. Just I think it's repetitive. Let me know your thoughts. Have you tested out Chanel Bleu De Chanel Parfum yet? Please put your comments in the info box. And also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, there's a subscribe button below. Please click the subscribe button and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for any future videos and also notifications in case you win a fragrance or a giveaway here, and I write back to you and you get the notification so that you claim your prize. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts on the new Chanel Bleu De Chanel Parfum. Please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.